Welcome to the Virtual Health Revolution, the podcast dedicated to inspiring health coaches and clinic owners just like you to explore the heights of your potential in the digital era. I'm your host, Karen, and together we'll uncover the secrets behind successful digital transformations in the healthcare industry. Okay, welcome back, guys, to another episode of the podcast. I am super excited about this one because I have with me Dr. Isaac Jones, who is a serial entrepreneur, is the founder of Health Experts Alliance America and Japan, is building longevity wellness resorts around the world, and is a high performance expert as well as just an epic human. So thank you so much for jumping on with me today.
My pleasure. I'm excited for this. Thank you, Karen.
Yeah, no, of course. I was thinking before we jumped on today about how we first met, and I realized it was actually 2015. I think I started working with you, which is 9 years ago now. And back then, you were just starting coaching other docs, and you were right in doing your own virtual wellness, high performance online health business.
Yeah, I mean, it was exciting because I'd built a virtual practice. I had a brick-and-mortar practice that was one of the largest in America, if not the largest, kind of multidisciplinary practice. And it was just incredible. We had thousands of patients coming in every week. Mm-hmm. We would do seminars that were upwards of 1,000 patients that would come out to them. And it was like so much fun. But the problem with that model was that I was grinding every single day and I was on a hamster wheel. And I was exhausted, right? And I know, talking to a lot of doctors in the medical industry, they feel the same way. Whether you're in health, kind of functional medicine, or medical care, it's similar. I feel like the healthcare industry is designed to wear the doctor down and the health coach or the practitioner down to the point where they're compromised in respect to their health. So, I had to rethink the whole model, and I asked myself, how do I actually get out of the old model and redesign and pioneer something new? And so that's when I would talk to one of my friends, and he was talking to me about doing a hybrid virtual brick and mortar practice. And then he's like, well, if you go virtual, then you could travel around the world and still help people from anywhere in the world. And I was like, okay, well, let me try this. And, that's when I pioneered it back in 2008, 2009. And then, became really successful, became a multi-million-dollar business later on. But at first it was just me figuring it out. But always I would work Tuesdays and Thursdays with patients. So then it allowed for a lot of freedom on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And then I didn't work on the weekends either. So Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I worked on the business. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, I worked with patients in the business. And that's one of the reasons why doctors are reaching out to me and saying, hey, what the heck are you doing? How are you doing what you're doing? How can we do what you're doing? And then I started coaching them as well. So it was kind of I was pulled into that, and I was doing that in Japan and in America around the same time. I actually started in Japan first because one of my patients asked me to come over there. And then that's when you reached out to me on Facebook.
Yes, I did. I had started my own virtual health coaching business and wanted to copy your model, wanted to see what you were doing. You were doing some awesome things in the space. And so fast forward, obviously, to today, and Health Experts Alliance is, it's one of the biggest places, I guess, for docs to go to learn how to go virtual, right? Tell me a bit more about what's going on today in Health Experts Alliance.
Yeah. So, it is the place to modernize your practice and to learn the practice and the health businesses of the future. And so, we are essentially a place where we teach people how to build virtual practices and how to integrate virtual into existing brick and mortars, into creating what I call, and what I've coined as, the modern day practice. And so the integrations of AI, the integrations of automation systems, the integrations of the different things that you can do to really scale your business. All of these things ultimately help to create more freedom for the doctor and the health coach and the practitioner. And it's amazing because you're able to help more people and make more money, but your health isn't compromised. So the big thing that I was trying to solve when my health hit a wall working in the big kind of brick and mortar practice is now solved. And I Health Experts Alliance is all about educating people on building self regulating automated practices where you're playing to your strengths, you're doing the things that you love to do, and then you've got people around you or systems around you that are doing the things that you don't love to do. So essentially minimizing burnout, maximizing your health vitality, but also maximizing the amount of people you're able to reach and transform. So, we've helped now over 2,000 doctors, or maybe it's 3,000. We've done something like $460 million worth of practice revenue was what we were able to calculate. And then we've also seen over $1 billion in exits out of our Epic Mastermind with companies that I've coached and trained that have gone on and sold their practices or sold their supplement company or sold their product company, in different ways. So it's been really kind of cool to watch.
I love that so much. And one of the things I love about it is one of the things that I love most about what I get to do. And that's that there are these amazing practitioners that now actually are able to get their like amazing protocols, their amazing results with patients out to more people, right? Because otherwise you see, like I see, all these amazing practitioners that get these amazing results with people. But they get, as you said, really stuck in their practice. They're maybe going to quit because they're burnt out. They can't get their message out to a wider audience. And through, the stuff we both do, really, we can hopefully help them get more people through their practice, right?
Totally. And I mean, that's where, I worked with you for a long time and supporting me to create these systems in my practice and helping to grow and scale my business. And we did, and we created a lot of success, and you actually came into like coaching and doctors in Japan and across America, with me. And it's just been amazing to see your journey, how many people you've helped and my journey. And I think there's just so much opportunity to make the world a better place and help these people get the best results possible.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, that is one of the things that's so cool about virtual. I mean, I live in Australia, you live in the US, and we do programs together in Japan. Like, how cool, right?
Yeah.
Like, and they love it. Like, we've had so much fun doing programs in Japan and across the US, of course. But I just
And
think,
you could really say in a way that Karen and I's patient base in Japan has been like thousands over the years, but like, hundreds every single cycle. And I mean, the launch that we just finished in December, just a couple of months ago, we did like close to $2 million, or it will be 2 million by the time we collect all the revenue in June or something along those lines. Now, that's pretty amazing to be able to like create that and then be able to do it, in a way that is like virtual, right? So
yeah, 100%. And then see them create their own businesses. And again, like spread that
yes.
same kind of like impact through Japan as well as through the US. And yeah, no, it's just super fun for sure. Well, so you obviously, you've worked with these thousands of doctors, some of them doing hybrid, some of them doing just virtual. What do you see, or what's something you see, like in the difference, I guess, between the really successful docs, the docs that make it, compared to some of them that get, we both see docs that get a little bit stuck. They want to do this, but they get a bit stuck.
It's like so clear to me now. Like it wasn't clear to me before. And after, hundreds of interactions or thousands of individual interactions, like of individuals, and I talked to them multiple times. I mean, you start to catch up on patterns and themes, right? So, there's Napoleon Hill wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich. And so when I was at one of my doctor mentors practices, he was mentoring me, but I would wake up at 5:30 in the morning, get to his place by 6. We'd work out at 6. We would then have like breakfast or whatever, and then go to the office after that. And we would always like play the Think and Grow Rich tape, right? And so we'd play it over and over. And I'm like, hey, just out of curiosity, because he's like one of the most successful doctors in the country, and self-made, multi millionaire, and just very, very successful. And he's just like, oh, I listened to this, probably 100 times. I'm like, 100 times? I'm like, what? Oh, like that's crazy. And I mean, we probably, in the course that I was in his practice, I did my residency in his practice. Like it was like, I don't know, like maybe we listened to it like 10 or 20 times or something like that. But there's themes to like success, right? There's like a mindset that people have that is really important. I was just coaching around 50 doctors today on a call, and the the thing I talked about was from one of my coaches that told me the definition of power. And so it's this ontological leadership training course that I've gotten coached by some of the top coaches and executive coaches in the world. And they're just like, hey, power is vision with language, right? Your vision and your language match. So you have a clear vision, and your language and your actions and all of that match, right? And so a vision is a clear mental picture of what could be, fueled by the conviction that it should be. Again, it's the clear mental picture of what could be, fueled by the conviction that it should be. Like, this needs to change. There's too many people with hypothyroidism. There's too many people that are overweight or whatever it might be. And I'm passionate about changing and transforming this industry. And the vision is a world without people, obese, or a world without people dealing with Hashimoto's or whatever it might be, right? So you've got that, but then you are constantly verbalizing to your team what the vision is. And this is where I think, like, a lot of doctors, and health practitioners, they fall off the map, is they may be excited about a vision. They may at the beginning of the year write their goals for the future, but then they don't verbally communicate it on a regular basis to the people around you. Now, what is the theme in these success growth books? Extreme Growth, Traction, EOS, Scaling Up. What is it? They all have you reiterating the company values and the vision, even if you're a small company or a large company, not just once a month, not just once a quarter in your quarterly meetings with your team, right? But it's like every day. And there's ways you celebrate every day at the beginning of a shift. So when I was in my brick and mortar, that was one thing that we did. Like, hey, what good things happened yesterday? Oh, well, Tammy came in and she, lost 20 pounds and she got rid of her depression. Or little Timmy, he's starting to walk again. And we're high-fiving each other. And it's like, what are we celebrating? We're celebrating the values of like healing and transforming people's lives inside the practice. Well, a lot of people, they don't do that in their practices. They don't do that in their businesses, right? So there's a consistency in your mindset around what your vision is. It's then your thoughts that line up with your language that are consistently communicated over and over again. And like, I'll talk to people. So the contrast of this is when doctors will miss their goals, or they set these goals and then they're constantly beating themselves up. They're just constantly like, man, I don't know how to do this. I'm not going to be able to, this person's not going to buy, or whatever. It's like this negative self-talk that they've never had anybody coach them on, overcoming that and recognizing that it's just a neurological pattern in your brain that can be rewired and reconditioned. And you do that through using your frontal cortex to think about, like, well, what are the thoughts that I actually want to think? Hey, I'm going to close this person. I'm going to commit them to their brighter future, is the way that we kind of reframe that, versus like close. I'm going to commit them to their brighter future. I am the access point to helping them create a brighter, a more a vitalistic, holistic transformation, so that they can, have a better marriage, they can travel the world, they can hear the birds again or whatever. I'm going to be able to generate more revenue this year than I've ever generated, before. It's natural, it's easy, it's effortless for me to get to where I want to be. And you may not believe these things at first, because again, we've been conditioned, we've been wired a certain way. And so over time, what happens is you start believing them. It's like Dr. Jockers. If you go to drjockers.com,
Yes.
I'm like rooming with this guy, and we're in school, and we're just like, I love this guy, but he comes out every morning. He's like, God is good. He's like, God is so good. And he's like yawning, he's stretching. And I'm like, okay, like God is good, but it's like annoying, like you say that every morning. And then he's like, I'm the world's best doctor. And I'm like, well, where does that leave me? I'm like, so I was starting to get irritated, but he's like, I'm the world's best doctor. Like, God is so good. But his mindset is like focused on him being the best doctor in the world.
And look at him now.
And look at him now. Like, he's one of the top natural doctors in the
Oh,
world.
yeah.
And I work out with him every Friday, and he's still one of my best friends.
Does
But
he
like,
still do that? Does he wake up? Does he get his kids to do it?
no, totally, he gets his kids to do it. It's
And
like,
do they wake up in the morning now? God is good.
yeah, I mean, I don't know about that, but he does that. Like, it's just his, it's,
So good. Yeah.
he's wired himself, right, for excellence. Like Horst Schulze told me this story yesterday. He's the founder of the Ritz-Carlton. He built the Ritz-Carlton to the #1 hotel in the world. And then he built Capella Hotels, and now it's #1 hotel in the world, resort and hotel in the world. And so I'm hanging out in his office yesterday, and he tells me this story of how when he started, so he was working at the Hyatt Hotel Company, and then he moved over to start this this luxury, hotel company called the Ritz-Carlton. And so their very first building, they took over a Holiday Inn. And it's like small rooms, and it's like a janky building. And it's here in Atlanta, Georgia. And and he's like, but he's like, I said, we are the #1 luxury brand in the world. We are the #1 hotel in the world. And he's like, nobody believed that. He's like, no, or no, he didn't say nobody believed that, but no, we weren't the #1, but I kept saying that
we were in a Holiday Inn.
Yeah, exactly. We're in a Holiday Inn. We're trying to build a new brand of hotels. And now, like, what has come of it, right? Like, he kept reiterating it. Hey, we're not going to stop till we're the #1 hotel in the world. And what? They were the #1 hotel in the world for 10 years straight. So that is the power, I think, of mindset. And I think, like, if you were to really see a good diagram of like the most successful doctors and people that we've seen, and the most unsuccessful doctors, the most unsuccessful doctors have what they call fixed mindset. And you can buy a book on this, but it's research backed. I mean, this is based in the research from Stanford University and all over the world, really. But you can buy the book Mindset by Carol Dweck, and you want growth mindset versus fixed mindset, right? So growth mindset is when you fail, it's an opportunity to learn. Like, what a blessing it is to fail. Like, I just spent $2 million on a litigation. Karen knows painfully about it.
I do know. Yes.
I like burned my beach house. I did all this stuff, like, and it's painful. I literally cried at moments, like just talking about how much money I spent with my wife and like things we could have done with that money differently or whatever. And now we're like, building it back. But it's like, the thing that I said to myself was like, man, what an opportunity it is to get my PhD in law and go through this litigation process. And like, what a blessing it is. Like, man, I know so much about contracts now. Like, I can help so many people, you know what I'm saying? So that is a mindset that you have to have.
Yes. And you know what I love about that is you can't control some of these things, I mean, kind of that come in, but the thing that you can control is your perception of it, right? Which was a beautiful example of you saying, hey, this is an opportunity to learn about law, right? You could just cry about it. But if you can, the only thing you can control in this situation once you're in it is your perception of what's happening to you, right? And you can either make this view of it or this view of it. And the way you're going to feel is going to drastically change depending on which way you go.
Exactly. Totally.
Yeah.
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 That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So these docs, so mindset is, I agree, obviously, that
The
you
other
see some docs' mindset is yes. Yeah.
mindset's huge, but I noticed one other thing about the people that actually are the most successful.
Mhm.
They have this like blueprint or software that's downloaded into their brain of like, I'm taking imperfect action. I'm moving forward. I'm taking imperfect action. I'm going to learn from whatever happens. It's kind of
Yeah.
like that Silicon Valley MVP model of
Yes.
software. I'm going to create the first minimum viable product. I'll get feedback from my customers. Doctors don't think that way.
No,
The health
it has to be
professionals don't think
perfect.
that way.
Yes.
Everything needs to be
Yeah.
perfect, right? So
Yes.
it's like the people that have become in the 8 figures, in the 9 figures of revenue, they're
Mhm.
like, okay, like boom, I'm taking action and I'm learning. I'm taking action, I'm learning, right? So
And
that's huge.
constantly, like some of the docs that I work with that have the highest, that have the most success, let's just take a sales call, are the best at sales calls, and been doing it for years, still get people to review their sales calls on like, how
Yes.
can I be better? Like super coachable, like no
Yes.
ego about I can't get
Totally.
better, just always wanting to get better, just
Yeah.
not like scared to be like, how can I do this better? Like they take feedback really well and be like, oh, that's amazing. Let's do better. Let's do better.
Yes.
Even
Yes.
at that level of success, keep on. Hey,
Yeah.
you can still do this better, right?
I love that. Yeah, totally. So that's actually one of the biggest things is that they're humble.
Yeah. Yeah.
When people are like, I call them, um, people in like peewee, like baseball, right? A lot of these little kids are not coachable. Like some of like one of my kids, like, I got this, dad. I'm like, okay, like go ahead. And they don't know what they're talking about, right? You have to learn. And then, but you look at all stars, right? Or even Hall of Famers. They're
Yeah.
people that are all stars, they have coaches around them,
Yeah.
right? They're always being coached and they're always having people like, hey, if you tweak this, you tweak that. That's what I do. That's what you do. It's like it's something of an art. But people that are really successful, they understand the value of a coach, which is why I always have a coach and why I'll always have a coach. But like the that is really important to like to have that, because you can spend a lot of money and waste a lot of time burning cash and then creating all these painful mistakes that both you and I have already made, right? Or
Right.
you could
Yes.
find people that will help you get to where you need to be
Yes.
faster. So
Yeah. No, 100%, 100%. For sure. All right, changing to just a little bit. What about, you're at the cutting edge of all these different healthcare topics, and what do you see as some trends coming into 2024 in virtual health? Give us some things that you're seeing that you think the docs would want to know about.
like I'm doing a whole seminar on April the 11th through the 14th in Austin, Texas. That's all on like longevity and regenerative medicine. I
Yeah.
think this is going to be the biggest trend and wave of the future. The most amount of money and Silicon Valley money, investor money is going into this, but they're creating innovations that are really like blowing people away with the results. And so I think like, the goal that we have is to is to continue to pioneer and show people like what the future is. And so I truly believe that longevity isn't just a thing, like a niche. I think longevity is a filter in which you address cancer. It's a filter in which you address Hashimoto's or brain fog or chronic fatigue syndrome or whatever. Because if you look at the 17 plus hallmarks of aging, right? The 17th is, and there's a lot of hallmarks of aging. It's like cellular senescence, right? Where the cells start to senesce and they start to like become, age rapidly. There's stem cell attrition, which is like you have less and less stem cells in your body, so you have less ability to repair, right? There's abnormal microbiome, unhealthy microbiome. There's chronic cellular inflammation is another hallmark of aging. There's increased cellular size, right? So there's all these different things that cause disease in the body, cause mitochondrial dysfunction. It causes physiological dysregulation. And so what I know is that when you address these things that actually help you live longer, right? Because aging is like exponential in respect to how, like, when people go to the process of death, like, it's an exponential effect. They just drop off a cliff, right? So we have to figure out an exponential solution to address this exponential problem. And the only way that we can truly do this is by addressing these different hallmarks. And so I think, like, the future of healthcare in every single sector is addressing these hallmarks holistically.
Yeah.
And so that's a big thing that I think is a huge trend for the future. Another thing is AI. Obviously, we like have integrated AI like fully and completely, and we have, AI experts that are coaching regularly and have worked. We've hired AI consultants on how to like integrate AI, but AI is like, game changing, right? So that's a huge trend. I think it helps, decrease the amount of time that, or you could really decrease a lot of things, in respect to hiring agencies, even like, think about the article writing that's happening right now. Some people and it's important to actually go through with a human and do this afterwards. But like these SEO agencies, a lot of them are writing with AI and then having a human edit it, and it's like,
So much faster.
it's so much faster. Exactly. So there's a lot of really cool things that are happening in AI, and I think it's here to stay, obviously. But we're going to see it just transform healthcare. It's going to transform diagnostics. It's going to transform.
That will be really interesting too, how it does,
Yes.
yeah, affect diagnostics and that
And even
whole,
treatment plans.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
because it'll be
right.
able to analyze the diagnostics and then create even better plans than what most doctors could
Are
create.
you seeing it do that already? I'm not, I live in this marketing space for it, so not as much in
Yeah. Yeah,
that.
like I would say right now I was like, obviously, as a doctor, very heavy clinical. Then I went very heavy business, and now I'm like equal business clinical in the way that I spend my time and researching and educating. But that's one thing that I would say is, happening right now. And there's different companies that are utilizing AI for, so I'm talking to one not next week, but the week after, that's gonna, help with all of this. So
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. And I think a lot of doctors are kind of hearing about AI, but they're not sure if they should, what they should use, what they should do. Have you got any tips for those docs that are a bit confused about AI and like I've spoken to some, they're like, oh, I feel like I should do something with AI. I don't know what that
yeah.
means.
I
What
mean,
do I
there's so
do?
much you can do. I mean, it's like, for instance, if you want to build a customer avatar, you can say, I am a holistic practitioner in the virtual health space that wants to work with people all over the world. My ideal client is a woman between the ages of 35 and 55 that is struggling with fatigue. She is, middle to upper class in respect to the revenue that she makes. And you go through and kind of explain the person that I want you to create a customer avatar or persona, so I can really best understand this person in more detail, answering the following questions. What are their biggest pain points? What is their vision for the future? What are the health challenges that they're dealing with? What are the unknown health challenges that they're struggling with that are caused by the main health problem? What are the implications that this has on their life? Right. So then you've got this like complete avatar kind of description that you may edit and then pop it back into chat GTP. But then you say, so now the AI is very like, you know, it understands your particular customer persona. Then you can say, okay, what are the biggest objections that this person has in working with me? And then it'll come up with like 5 to 10 different objections. Okay, I want you to give me the answers to these objections. What are the best ways, you know, and that you can handle these objections? So it'll give you ways you can handle those top objections. And then you can say, okay, well, what are some good analogies and stories that I can tell to handle these objections in my conversations with them, even before I get to the sales process or whatever. So it gives you these brilliant analogies that are like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of this, right? That you can tailor or whatever. But now you've got like specific analogies, you've got different rebuttals to things that you can say. It's like incredible. So that's just one example in respect to building a customer persona. And then you could say, hey, look, like what are the best, like I want to, you know, send, like I want to build out an affiliate list of people that are in this niche, of people that I could reach out to and develop a relationship with. You know, I want the top social media influencers that are, you know, from food bloggers to this to that. And then you've got like an incredible list. And then we're like, who do I contact to get in touch with all these people? Recreate this table with a contact, you know, email or link to the contact us page of their website or whatever. And it's like, okay, like now you've got an affiliate, you've got clarity around who your avatar is. Now you've got clarity around who to market to and affiliate relationships that you can build. And I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff, right? Like social media posts, etc.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, content ideas is super. I mean, it's great for that. For people that are, you know, I often get docs really stuck on things to shoot for video, or I don't know what to talk about. I mean, it's amazing for that. Starting, as you said, you know, if you are ever asking, you know, any questions, if you can start with your customer persona, it gives you such better answers at the end. I mean, AI is all about, you know, how good are your inputs are, how good your outputs are. But really, I mean, that affiliate one is a great example of really like anything you kind of are stuck on. Hey, try it. Ask ChatGPT and see what they say, right?
Totally.
Like, there's a lot going on in that space for sure. What about us from a business perspective? Are you seeing any other kind of marketing things that your docs in Epic are doing that have been working really well? Have you got someone who's doing some awesome stuff that you could tell us about?
Yeah. So I mean, so what I've done in my business is I've never created content on social media, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I'm getting to a point where in business where I've grown to a certain level where, you know, we can cross like in a business like 8 figures. And it's great because everything's done via funnels and, you know, I'm not on social media or whatever. But what I find is that when people do well with creating content and driving, you know, the ads, their ad spends go down. It's just better, right? So I'm actually like I was lazy. I don't like social media. I don't like looking at social media.
Yes.
But I'm like, you know what? I'm at a place in my life where I'm like, there's a platform where I can get in front of 100,000 people, or 100,000 people can watch my stuff, and I haven't paid like anything, right? Or if you want to boost it, you can. But it's like it's pretty incredible, right? So I'm looking to find somebody to help really like take the social media side of my business to the next level, because we've seen people like Jabin Moore, right, who is doing
with that.
doing ads and Instagram and done really well with that. Like a biohacking bombshell, somebody that I coach, and she's doing so well with the Instagram, and she's like killing it in practice, right? And then you've got LaCrista, who's this nurse
amazing
that
videos. She's
she's
great.
just
I love her
killing
videos.
it. So there's a lot of like really great opportunity, I think, to you know, to really move the needle with some of these opportunities.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so true. And you know what? I'm the same. And I focus on paid media more, a lot more. But man, when I do more regular organic content, it makes a difference. It
Yeah.
really does, right? It's crazy. And I think for a lot of the docs that I work with anyway, I think that like starting, I mean, depending on where you're at and what your goals are, starting like kind of like you did, start with your funnel, get some paid traffic going. You can get some revenue through, but then doubling back and including some of that organic content as well, it starts to then have more resilience in the way that you get people to your funnel. It starts to reduce your ad cost. So I think that like starting with build out your funnel, get paid, get your ads going so that you can get some people through, you can get some traction, you've got some like income coming through your business. And then if you can come back around and start doing some of that organic, more organic content, yeah, I love that. Totally, I totally see that too.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Well, this has been awesome. I don't want to take too much of your time. I've so appreciated you jumping on with me today. So many insights. I'm sure all the docs that are listening have loved that as well. Hopefully I'll see you soon while I'm over in the US. Yeah, just thank you so much for jumping on with me.
Thank you, Karen. You're incredible. And yeah, like I would just recommend that anybody listening to this, like highly recommend Karen and what she's done and how she thinks. And she's somebody that like really cares about people. So one of the things that I've loved just working with her in the past is like she has a high degree of excellence around her work and the results that she's committed to getting for people. So just to really appreciate who you are as a person and recommend, definitely reaching out to Karen and connecting with her.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right.